Hello everybody, Isamu Sushi here, and I've had a few people inquire about my padlock recovery comb pick. And before a company steals the idea, starts making them and trying to sell them, I was going to show you how I made it so you could make your own really quick. Now, keep in mind, you got to be careful. So I do normally make a 6 on one side, 7 on the other. The 6 would work on all American lock cores, you would think. However, after the first in the Fortress contest, which, by the way, this did not come with a key. I made this key myself. So that it did not come with a key when I first got it. You can go see previous videos to see what I mean. But this only has a 5-pin core. So this 6-pin would not work. And I actually do have 5 on my little mini one. I have a 5 and a 7 on this one here. And then after that, I started going to the 6. So you're going to need to double check what bitting you got or how many, chambers you have pinned if it's an American lock and they're not all pinned. But what I did is I just took a piece of windshield wiper, the wider stuff if possible. You kind of need the wider stuff. And how I did this is I lined up the end. I take it, put a mark just a little bit in from the end, and this will make more sense here in a second. Okay, so that's my first line. I just make a simple line, and that is it. Now I'm going to take that line, and I'm going to line it up with the very first tooth or chamber, and then I'm going to put a line dead center in the middle of each one of those chambers, and I'm just going to draw a single line, and that is it. So it doesn't matter whether you have a big giant, honking 6 or 7 pin or a 4 or 5 pin. If you let me get these out of the way, and I don't know if I've got the camera close enough, but I'm going to line this up on the very first chamber here. Okay, and then I'm just going to draw a line dead center in each one. Okay, you can see there, dead center in each one. Now, normally I would cut on this side because I'm using a Dremel wheel, which is going to spin this way, so I want the stuff to shoot down. So I would color in the side I want to save. So normally I would have done it this direction, but hopefully my squiggly slants will still work to mark the centers. Okay, so there's the center of each of my chamber. Now all I did after that was go another line on the right and another line on the left of each mark. Another line on the right, another line on the left. Rinse and repeat. So all I'm doing is strategically widening each of my lines by just adding another parallel line right next to it. Okay, that is it. Now, usually on your windshield wiper blade inserts, you can see a line down them where they have been all the way in the rubber and where it's been sticking out of the rubber. Basically, that little teeny amount is all I used. So I would mark in between each one. And then fill in above. And we need a mark on this side. However, keep in mind, you're going to have to get past the shield and everything else. So you're going to need to add about 3/8 of an inch, half an inch to that, and keep that channel going out a little ways. So keep that cut going out for a little ways, and then you can kind of taper it off. Okay, and then the black is where I do not cut. That is literally all I did. Then I take a Dremel cutter with a cutting wheel, and I cut each notch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I cut the side of this pin right here so I can work out the left side and kind of grind it out from there. And after I've cut a notch, I just take my blade and I just move it a little bit left, a little bit right, and I just widen that out slowly. Take a piece of wet, dry sandpaper to deburr it, and then you can test it inside your lock, because on the bottom of your core are going to be holes where they drilled all the way through up into the Bible. Now you can take your tool and it's going to drop down into those holes on the bottom of your core and just deburr it first so you're not scratching up your brass and leaving burrs inside your lock. But you can insert it in and drop it down in. You can see whether you need to take more out of the neck out here. For instance, this section here, how deep is it going to go into your lock? So let's see, that's my first tooth right there. So you can see I still got a little bit sticking out. I'm plenty good on my neck. And that's all I did. After I did that, I polished it and I kind of tapered my pins away so that as I polished and sanded, it almost kind of rounds over the teeth. Now these first ones, you can't see it very much. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on this one. This is the most recent one. And I'll take the polishing wheel and go in between each one. But see, there's a little bit of a taper on those pins. You can see it in the glare of the lighting. And I do that to each side, and it ends up almost kind of rounding off that pin and tapering it down a little bit, make it a little bit skinnier, and get it inside that lock. And if it's a little bit too tall, basically I've just taken file and filed off what I needed to on the tooth section, leave everything else out here alone. Don't want to weaken it any more than you have to. Take off material. You can always notch a little bit deeper if you need to. And then wet dry sandpaper and polish it up like crazy. And you have a beautiful tool. Anyway, that's how I made it. I hope this helps. It's kind of a long video already and I didn't even actually cut it. So I'm not going to go through the effort of cutting it all. But the most important part was laying it out. When I laid it out this way, it worked every single time. When I tried to duplicate off of another one or copy off of another one, obviously it slowly gets a little bit different every single time. You have variables. We're not perfect. So I recommend laying it out for the key and you should be gravy. Have a great day, night, whatever it is. Let's make it a good one because you never know. This could be our last. Thanks, everybody.